Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the afternoon. Joining me today is not only Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat reporter, Charlie O'Connor. We also have Broad Street Hockey's own Kelly Hinkle. What's going on today, fam?
You know, it's Friday.
It is Friday, and even though it's like the end of July, Danny Briere has made it so that it's not an F around Friday.
This was a busy week.
It was a busy week, and we have a lot to do. And like Kelly wasn't able to join us yesterday, so I want to get a little bit more of the Travis Konecny reaction to the contract extension. We have a whole bunch of things to get to today.
I'm just trying to talk about movies.
I know. I really thought we were going to do the Slapshot show at some point. Okay, so before let's do that first. Reviews days. We're just going to hit reset, and we're going to do Slapshot on Tuesday.
Okay.
So if you didn't get a
we're
chance...
back to being Tuesday reviews days.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like at a certain point, it was like, let's just push this off because we have other things to talk about. And so we're going to hit reset. On Tuesday, we're going to talk about Slapshot, and then I'll put out a poll asking what the next hockey movie we'll talk about the following week is, and we'll go from there. Until, of course, they trade for, Shane Pinto and everything.
I do think they are probably done now because
you would think.
These were the last two truly outstanding pieces of business in that you knew Mitkov was coming over eventually, and you knew people were going to lose their minds when he did. And they said from the get-go that they wanted to have the Konecny contract resolved one way or the other by the start of camp. So they just did it now. All their RFAs are re-signed. They could theoretically make a trade, yes, but everyone is at the cabins at this point, so probably
Let Danny
not.
get to the cabin.
So my guess is that they are now done, and now the rest of the summer will be us just effing around. But this week was just as busy as like the first week of July was.
All right, so the first thing I want clarification on, because we were doing this like right before we went live, and I was like, well, why not? Why not just do this? Because I need the clarification for our listeners too. The contract, the 8-year contract extension, it comes with, we didn't know the trade protections during the show yesterday.
Right.
Charlie, what exactly are they? Because I was very confused the way you apparently got it right in your reporting. There were a couple different ways it was phrased. What are the protections in the 8-year contract extension?
Yeah, I think Kevin Kurz was the first one to tweet it out. I got confirmation a little bit later. It really only got confused when Puckpedia put out their tweet because my guess is that Puckpedia got the right information but just didn't present it as straightforwardly as they probably should have. And they'll get better. We talked about it before the show that they have been the duty of becoming the new cap friendly has been thrust upon them. They will get used to getting these contracts completely right. But the first 6 years of the contract, there is a full no-move clause. And the no-move clause essentially means he cannot be traded without any permission. He cannot be traded to any team he has to approve, and he also cannot be waived. That is what a no-move clause is. The final 2 years of the deal, the no-move clause goes away. It's no longer a no-move clause. It's replaced by a 14-team no-trade clause, which gives the Flyers the flexibility to theoretically trade Konecny, but it gives Konecny veto power on nearly half of the teams in the league.
And is that 14 teams he can be traded to or 14 teams he will not go to?
I don't know off the top of my head, but usually it is 14 teams he can't be traded to.
That's what I thought.
That is generally the way these clauses work. I can't say with 100% certainty that's the way this contract is, but generally it is these 14 teams I cannot be traded to, and they spell them out, and usually it's the teams you would expect in like the Winnipegs and places where nobody wants to go live. And then if a guy doesn't want to get traded, a lot of times what they'll do is the player will pick all of the best teams because he figures, well, if I don't want to get moved, I'm going to make it so if Colorado is looking to trade for somebody, they have to get my approval because they're a team that theoretically could be looking for upgrades at that time.
Yeah.
And
if not, they'll just pick all the cities they don't want to live in.
Yeah.
I mean, 14 at this rate, 8-9 years from now, there could be like 20, 30 teams that he could still be traded to.
They could go up to 33 or 34 by 2032, something like that.
I am positive it'll be 34 by then. We'll see if they go any further.
You think it's going to be what? Now I'm curious.
It'll definitely be 34.
We'll do an F
then.
around Friday.
Yeah.
How many teams are you expecting the NHL to have?
I mean, in my lifetime, 100.
What?
Yeah.
What? No.
But it's by 2075, you don't think there'll be like 50 teams in the league?
No.
That's crazy.
I do not.
There's already too many.
I do
There's
not.
not enough.
I do
my
not
humble
think they
opinion.
are just going to keep adding teams forever. No, I don't.
Oh, that's crazy.
There's only
don't know
82
Gary.
games in the season.
That for now.
I was gonna say now we're changing that to like what 86 because that's what we've all been
It's like
asking
European
for.
soccer. It just goes year round. There's 20 different leagues.
boy.
Yeah, why not?
Anyway, what was the other? Oh, so the other thing I wondered yesterday, and I think you came up with this, Chuck. This is, if he's lasts the length of the contract, the largest sum total contract they'll pay out. Mike Richards got $69 million,
Right.
but they did once have a player sign for more.
Indeed.
Shea Weber.
It's
just that-
$110 million.
It's just
Should've
that
kept.
Nashville and Montreal paid it out.
Yeah.
And then
He never
Arizona
actually played
probably.
for the
Arizona,
Flyers.
yeah.
Never played
But,
here.
but that is
yeah.
the most lucrative contract the Flyers have ever signed a player to.
$110 million. That's wild.
And like, what, 12 years ago?
it is wild that they didn't
and
get
now
that guy.
40 million less. It is wild how that when they put the cap on years, and it was like, yeah, we needed a rule
Homer was
to
crazy
protect
for that
GMs
one.
from themselves.
Yeah.
Like-
Not wrong.
And then like they made all sorts of rules so you couldn't get out of them. It was like, but you signed these contracts. Now you're ruining the team because what anyway. So the Konecny contract extension, believe it or not, Flyers fans are divided on this.
Gas.
I'm shocked.
Can you believe it? Now, like, my big takeaway from yesterday was like, listen, I don't know if this is the best allocation of assets for a team that's in a quote unquote rebuild, but I think it's about right money wise. Like, I don't think this is a massive overpay.
It's
I think
not.
this is basically what he's worth. And you kept a good player. Does he really fit the timeline? How is he going to age? That is a gamble. Like, this is just one of those gambles Danny Briere is taking. It's like, we'll never know until it's happening if it was a good idea or not. Yeah. Based on like the law of averages, it's not the best idea, but maybe he's an outlier. There's no way to know until it happens.
Yeah, I made the argument of, like, in my article, my breakdown that I released last night, it's like you're playing blackjack and you have 12 and the dealer's showing a 6. The math tells you should stay and bet that the dealer is going to bust because you assume the dealer has a 10, they're not showing, and then they're going to bust. You can hit, and there's a solid chance you're going to get a not a face card. You're going to get a 9 or less, and you're going to have a better shot. But on the whole, the math is in favor of you.
See, that's why I can't play blackjack. I would definitely hit on 12 every time.
Yeah.
It's not close enough.
It's not close enough.
No.
Exactly.
I said I can't. That's why I can't gamble.
Exactly.
I'm too dumb.
But my point is
no,
that
I get your point. Yeah.
overall,
Mhm.
if you follow the numbers, you're going to win
Yes.
more. The
Yes.
Flyers in this case did not follow the numbers. They went with their gut. It doesn't mean that their gut can't be right. It doesn't mean there are not a bunch of different scenarios where their gut ends up leading to a positive outcome. It just means that if you're purely betting on outcomes, this was a risk that maybe wasn't the smartest risk to take.
Kelly, you are one of the reasons I want to get more into not doing an F Around Friday today because you weren't here yesterday. And I saw some of your reaction on the old twitter.com and wanted to bring that here to the real world. You know, YouTube, definitely the real world. How did you feel yesterday when the announcement was made? Travis Konecny, 8-year extension, $70 million.
I had so many thoughts. I actually made notes, which is remarkable
Hey,
for me. I didn't want to forget anything. So first of all, much like Charlie, I absolutely need to log off because it's extremely bad for my mental health to be reading your people's tweets because you're all crazy in a good way. So my thought is this. I don't know why so many of the online Flyers fans seem to be treating this contract like the Andrew McDonald contract. Like, freaking out about how objectively bad it is. Like, there's just nothing positive about this contract. You definitely should have moved him so that you would have cap space to presumably sign a player as good as Travis Konecny. I'm guessing that's what you would want to do with that cap space, but you already have him. So, like, my questions are these. What is the window? we don't know what the window is. We've all kind of presumed that the window is 4 or 5 years from now. We don't know that's what the window is, and we don't know that's what Briere thinks that the window is. Part of me thinks that, like, with Michkov coming over early, I know that he says that this doesn't change their strategy, and probably on a macro level it doesn't. But I do think it's like, if you're the general manager of this team, it would almost kind of be malpractice to not try to maximize the ELC years. So, like, maybe you're thinking to yourself, okay, maybe we try to push it a little bit harder than we thought we would because we've got these 3 years of this guy that hopefully we're going to have to give a boatload of money to in a few years. Maybe we see what we can do in this 3 when he's making league min. So, like, okay, like, if you think about that logically, I think that kind of makes sense. And then also, like, as far as value goes, if Travis Konecny, for the first 5 years of this contract or so, is part of the reason why Tyson Forrester gets better, is part of the reason why Morgan Frost looks a little bit better, if he's part of the reason why other players that are younger that we need to be part of the core of this team, if they take steps forward because they're playing with a player as good as Travis Konecny, and again, Travis Konecny is really good. Like, he's not a bad hockey player. He's not a mediocre hockey player. He's a very good hockey player. Then aren't we getting some value out of him that's a little bit bigger than just score sheet value? I would say, yes, we are. So I do kind of think that people just kind of need to, like, chill a little bit and just, like, think that maybe your idea of what this rebuild is going to be is not what the reality is. Because none of us know. Everyone's guessing. We don't know what it's going to be. We don't know what their precise plan is. And to be quite honest with you, if Travis Konecny not being that great anymore in 5 or 6 years is a big problem for this team, then the team's not good anyway. Like, he needs to not be a factor in 5 or 6 years.
I guess the downside, the real downside of this, which is always going to be the downside of a massive contract signed to a guy in his late 20s, is like, well, what if he just gets hurt and then stinks? And then they're screwed. But, like, that's going to be the case for any deal you sign.
And also, like, find me a hockey player who signs a deal at this stage of the game that's not bad at the back half of it. Like, 90% of them are. That's just how it goes in hockey every single time. It's just that with a guy that's already on your team, you're not overpaying for him like you would a UFA. But every one of these deals signed in your late 20s, first of all, they're always long because it's hockey, and they're always bad in the back half. I think, like, the ticket here is that Danny Briere needs to make sure that Travis Konecny is not one of the best 2 players on this hockey team in 5 years. Because if we're expecting him to be in 5 years, then everything's failed. And then it doesn't matter anyway. So, like, we just need to, I guess, at this point, there's no reason for me to yet believe that Danny Briere can't do this because he hasn't shown me anything terrible yet. And I know a lot of people are calling this terrible. He lost the negotiations. You should have traded him.
He didn't lose the negotiations.
I know, that's nonsense.
Like I am very open to the argument that they should have traded him, that he doesn't fit the timeline. This is why, like, I hate Twitter. I truly fucking hate it.
It's the
because
worst.
Like, I get positioned by some people as a defender of this move when I'm actually not.
No, you've said 100 times that you wouldn't have done it.
Because I think the argument that Konecny is a not good player is fucking bonkersly.
It's nonsense.
It's unbelievably stupid. And anyone who believes it is actively spewing moronic ideas. And I argue against that. Then people are like, oh, you think this is a good move? Like, no, I just think the idea that Konecny's a $6 million player is nuts, and you're wrong.
Right. It's nonsense to say that he's not an $8 million player. He is just objectively based on the things that people say.
Do the research.
It's nonsense to say that he wouldn't be like a top 2 line player on a good team. That's nonsense. I mean, like, there's just, like, a lot of people just, like,
spewing shit.
Yeah, all the way in the wrong direction to try to, like, make themselves feel correct. And there's also still this ongoing insistence on being negative about every single thing that this organization does, in the hopes that one day you get to say, see, you idiot, see how smart I was? You thought Travis Konecny was going to be good for 4 years, and I was right because he sucks. Like, oh, cool. Everyone's lives are miserable right now because the team sucks. I'm glad that you feel good about yourself. Like, that's the only reason these people are like this. But anyway.
I've always made the argument that being negative
is the coward's way
exactly. to be a fan.
You are
because
correct.
If you're negative and the team stinks, then you can at least feel good that you were right. If you're negative and the team is good, who cares? The team's
good, right? So,
and only, as you point out, like, oh yeah, they're not going to win the cup this year. No shit, 31 teams won't. The chances,
that's the other thing.
Numerically, the chances of winning the cup are very low.
Yes.
Even like for the New York Rangers, an awesome team, it's like, yeah, probably not, because like no one wins. One does, Like being negative, you're probably going to be right, because the good thing is the rare outcome.
31 times you're correct. Cool, good job. I just feel like, can't we for 5 seconds just enjoy that we have good players on our hockey team? And that's fun. We've had so much fucking boring, miserable hockey over the last 5 or 6 years.
He's a fun player to watch,
He's
which is
fun.
Like, Danny did say the other day, we are in the entertainment business. And like, and that's one thing I do appreciate here. And like, just trying to, because again, I'm not totally sold on this, but I'm trying to, I always say, I don't need to agree with you, but if I can see your logic, then I can be like, all right, I get it. Yeah. And what I'm starting to think is, like I've said a few times, this might take a little longer than we thought. They are putting a whole lot of stock into the idea of, we got to get these young kids playing meaningful games, and that's the only way they're going to learn to become winners, is playing in these meaningful games. To get that to happen, I don't know if anyone's ever paid attention, but young teams don't win shit. Like, young teams, even with really good, like Connor McDavid missed the playoffs like 4 of his first 5 years. He might be the best player of all fucking time.
Yeah.
Like, it's very rare young teams win. To get these players in a position, Matvei Michkov, yeah, maybe he's an exception because he's amazing, but Tyson Forster, even Owen Tippett, Cam York, these guys in position to learn how to play these games. They're going to need these vets around to kind of get them those couple extra points throughout the season that keep them in that contention, so that maybe they make the playoffs. Maybe they learn what playoff hockey is. And I'm seeing this kind of coming in 2 waves. Like, there's going to be a point where they're third in the division. They're a wild card team. That's kind of where, and that's probably more in the front half of this Travis Konecny contract. Mm-hmm. And he's the catalyst for that. And then in the back half, it's like, yeah, we're overpaying him. But we have a whole bunch of these young guys that came up through this organization that won some stuff early, and now they are ready to take the next step, and he gets to be the Jamie Benn Tyler Seguin.
Exactly.
Yeah, is he overpaid? Definitely. But he's still good, and we have all these other dudes that we can play them third-line minutes.
Yeah, I guess where Bill, I would not be shocked if that is their entire idea, is that they look at it as, yeah, in the first half of the deal, we might not be a cup contender, but we think we'll be a playoff team if we have Konecny. If we don't necessarily think we will be. If we have someone like Konecny, we have a better chance of being a playoff team. And even if we don't have any real chance of winning a cup, we think that young players are going to benefit from being on a competitive, playoff relevant team. I fundamentally disagree with that. Like, I just fundamentally disagree with that philosophy. I think the Flyers would benefit significantly more from having higher draft picks over that run than losing in 5 games to the Rangers 2 straight years.
I agree.
I fundamentally disagree with that premise, which is why I look at it as the only way this Konecny deal works for me is if, A, they're much better in the front half of the deal than I think they're going to be, which, like, they could be. If Danny has a great off, and you spoke to this, like, if Danny has a great offseason next summer and then a great offseason in 2026 and they make some big trades and maybe they get lucky with some prospects who develop quicker than expected, and then by year 2, the Flyers are where the Devils were going into last season, where you're like, hey, we could, few things break their way, they could win it all. Then the Konecny deal makes perfect sense to me. And then B is if he just ages really well, which, like, not out of the realm of possibility. It's not terribly likely based on the way this usually works,
right?
But it could happen. He could be 33 and still real good. And then boom, we'll be looking back on this day and say, man, Danny made the right bet. You know, he bet on this guy staying healthy and staying in shape and having the competitiveness to find ways to succeed even as his physical abilities dip a bit. Then we're going to be like, that was a great move. But if one of those 2 scenarios, or both, that would be, I guess, ideal. if one of those two scenarios doesn't play out, I do not think this contract works for me. And that is in part because I don't really see the value. And I know I'm certain the Flyers do. They see the value in getting to the playoffs and losing a couple times in blowout fashion because they learn. I don't think that matters that much. I think when you're ready to win, you win, and then you either sink or you swim. But that's my personal opinion. I don't think I'm necessarily right or wrong. That's just my personal opinion.
I just don't think like 2 years from now we're talking about like what the Capitals were in the playoffs this year. Like I think they are a competitive team that could win a round or two. Are they cup contenders? No. But I do think there is a difference between getting in and having a chance to maybe go on a little bit of a run or just being a bad team that happens to be there.
Right.
Like, I don't think they will be in position to, they're in because the East stinks. Like, that's not what I think they're thinking. But no, I have said time and time again, I would like to have seen this thing torn down, but that is not the reality we're living in. Yeah. So I can't just I can't do a show based on some alternate reality.
I mean, for the record, I would not have signed Travis Konecny for 8 years. If I were playing NHL GM mode, I would have traded him for a really good center, and that would have been cool. You
got to turn the cap off if you're playing.
I don't really think it's that easy in real life, but then again, what do I know? But that said, I don't think this is detrimental to the team in the short term at all.
It's not. Not in the short term.
I don't think it's going to be a breaker in the long term. I think it might be like, I wish we weren't paying Travis Konecny $8 million, but I can't see it being like, God, this is ruining our lives. This albatross of a contract that we can't get rid of. Like, I don't think it's going to be that.
But it could. So, like, look at how we're viewing the Couturier contract. It could.
Right now. If he gets hurt, like that's the big one is getting hurt. But like literally, that's a gamble with every single guy that takes the ice. Every single one of these guys could have a career-ending injury at any moment. Like that could happen.
It's just not every guy that hits the ice has an 8-year contract.
Understandable.
That's the risk.
I don't think it's as bad as people want it to be. Would I have done it? Probably not. That said, I don't know how hard it is to trade for a center. It seems like it's probably hard. People like having good centers. There's probably not a ton of them available on the market. Maybe Anaheim didn't want an old man winger. And so we couldn't get Trevor Zegras in this particular deal. I don't know. But like, I think everyone needs to just like chill for a second. Like, it's fine.
We have it later.
We have it later.
I would have gone into it. Damn. No, before we do take our first break, there's one more thing I know people, and I'm one of them, like impatient. We want the acquisitions to happen. Yesterday, I was just like, so when do we get these great players that you tell us we need them? We're not going to be drafting them unless we get super lucky.
Well, in fairness,
how do we get them?
We just met one in person 3 days ago.
Okay, that's one. You need like 2 to 3 more.
Okay, I agree. I'm just saying.
Near his, somewhere between the Konecny and Michkov level. I was going to say, you need 2 to 3 guys.
Most teams that win the cup don't have 2 or 3 Matvei Michkov, Connor McDavid, Connor Bedard level players on them.
Sure.
People like to pretend that they do, but they don't. Like, do you need
Tampa and Colorado teams changed a lot of percent. Like,
yes.
Those were super teams.
Yes.
They really were.
And I've said it before that you can look at Florida and you can see a path. Will he have to do everything really, really well? Absolutely. Will he have to get lucky? Absolutely. But you can absolutely see a path from this version of the Flyers to a version of the Flyers that looks like this year's Florida Panthers. I really do think that can be done.
I will say, while I'm like, no, we need more great players. Go get them. What are we doing here? There are like a number of guys that we just don't know. Like, are they going to be great? Probably not. But like, are they going to be big contributing pieces to this thing? They just really don't know like what Drysdale is, what York is, what Forster is, and what Brink is. And Farabee, and I'll even throw Cates in there, like maybe they have another level. You think you know what they are, and good. Like they could be nice pieces in different roles. Or they could be even considerably better. And you're not sure about that yet. Like,
I think that if this season, and I'm in no way, shape, or form expecting it, but it's a plausible outcome. If this season 1 or 2 guys take the leap into being, I'm not even talking about Michkov, like, and we don't even know what Michkov's level is going to be, but like the dream of Michkov that we think he's going to be the shining light of the franchise. If 1 or 2 guys can take the leap to reaching current Travis Konecny levels, I feel a lot better about where this is going, because suddenly then it's like, okay, well, you've got Michkov as the guy, hopefully. You've got Konecny locked up. Then you have an 80-point Joel Farabee 2. And you have a Jamie Drysdale who looks like a top pair defenseman of the, maybe not of the Cale Makar ilk, but maybe in the like Aaron Ekblad, Gustav Forsling level, where you're like, yeah, they're damn good and they're clear-cut top pair defensemen. If you have that, then suddenly I'm looking at the team and I'm like, yeah, they probably need like one more really good guy. Like you need one more true Robin to Mitchkov's Batman. And then you have Michkov, that guy, Konecny, Farabee, Drysdale, and like, all right, now we're cooking with gas here. So this could, our perception of the talent level of this roster could change dramatically if a couple guys currently on the roster can reach current Konecny levels. And I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
So much. I just think so much is this year I came in thinking like, oh man, is this year kind of like, what's the point? Like it just kind of seems a lot like last year. And then of course Michkov changes that. But really just looking at this roster, no, there is a whole lot of evaluation that needs to be done, like to really determine what these things are and what you're gonna. You don't really know exactly what you need outside of, yes, we need a 1C, we need a 1D, but like, how do these pieces fit? What are the support pieces we still need? Gonna answer all those questions this year, I think, or at least have a lot clearer of an answer. So that's that. All right.
And I think Danny actually said that said more or less, I'm trying to find the exact quote because he was specifically asked, and I did the transcription. He was specifically asked about like, how's the team going to get better? Here it is. Because I believe it might have been Kevin Kurz at the end of the press conference asked him, okay, like Michkov's here, but how do you think the team's going to get better? You really haven't done a lot other than that. And he said, a few things have changed, but for me, it's the internal growth. Our younger guys are getting a year older, a little bit more mature. So to add a player of his talent level is just hopefully eventually going to make us a better team. So what he's basically saying is, yeah, I know I didn't do shit this summer, aside from bringing Michkov over. I know, I get it. But I think at least a couple of our guys, if not a lot of them, that are on the team now are going to take big steps forward. We will see if the players justify his faith.
And here's the thing, just one last thing. As a fan, speaking from the fan perspective, isn't it more fun to go into this season hoping that the young guys take a step?
All of them could be a boat.
That they might.
All it could be a boat.
We could have 8 boats.
Exactly.
Who knows?
Like, isn't that more fun than just like moping around and
people
being
would
like,
rather be right.
Travis Konecny stinks. He should only be making 7.95, not 8.75. This is ridiculous. Like,
lots of people are afraid to be wrong.
Go to the Farg.
I love being wrong.
Go to the Farg. Buy. Oh, it's not the Farg anymore.
Oh, it's still the Farg for now. We're going to get to that.
Go to the Farg. Buy a Michkov jersey. Have fun. As William Matt says all the time, you buy the ticket, you take the ride. We have all
Ain't
purchased.
nothing we can do.
We have purchased the Flyers ticket. Like, let's just fucking ride it and see where it goes.
I feel like people think if they can be negative enough, eventually they'll listen. And I'm going to be honest with you.
He's not reading your tweets, fam.
No one's listened to any of us forever.
They like physically listen to us and they're not listening to us. So they're not listening to you.
Like,
sorry.
they simply aren't going to listen to the fans.
I keep trying to make
don't
Dan
think you know what you're talking about.
Not happening.
Well, they have a plan and they think their plan is smart.
Yes. Yeah. Whether it is or not, I don't know. Because I don't know either. Like,
no,
I'm just
none
saying
of us know.
they ain't listening. So you might as well just.
Like, we don't know. We're all
take
just
a step
guessing.
back every now and then. Have a beer.
I do think before you get into these reads, because I know we put them off for quite a while.
Four in a row here.
One of my big frustration points with social media is not even the arguments that are presented, because I love debate. I love having conversations about what you think might happen, what you believe is the right thing to do, what do you think the right way to build a team is. What frustrates me is the lack of self-awareness on the part of a lot of people.
Oh, yes.
That it's like the idea of like the sign of intelligence to be able to hold like 2 opposing ideas in your head at the same time and not go insane. There's a lot of people who just cannot fathom a world where their preferred way of doing it is not the only way to do it. Like, you can have your belief as to what you think the Flyers should do, but that doesn't necessarily mean, like, you can't look at it as I am 100% right and I will always be 100% right and anyone who disagrees with me is 100% wrong. Like, have a little bit of self-awareness and acknowledge that while you might have very strong opinions of what you think the Flyers should do, and you might be right, it's certainly possible, you're not certain to be right. Just have a little bit of less certainty in your own infallibility, and I think we'll have significantly more reasonable discussions.
All right, we're talking Danny Briere. We just need him to make some smart financial decisions.
There it is.
You know what he should do? Maybe he should go to TrueMark Financial and hook up with one of these advisors that they've got for you to provide that personalized financial planning and expertise. Learn about things like goal setting for long-term security, all of that stuff. But listen, I don't think Danny Briere is actually going to do that. But you can do it by going to TrueMark.com/PHLY or visiting one of the 24 local branches of TrueMark Financial Credit Union. I tell you all the time, man, you think, this is just going to be a pain in the ass. I got to have all these things linked to my bank account, my debit, all this and that. TrueMark Financial makes it super easy to switch from one of the big banks over to a credit union. And the benefits, they're enormous because it comes down to a very simple thing, the ownership structure. Big banks, they're for-profit institutions owned by shareholders. They operate with the primary goal of making money for their shareholders, while credit unions, they're not-for-profit financial cooperatives owned by their members. So if you live or work in Bucks, Chester, Delaware, Montgomery, or Philadelphia counties, you're eligible to join TrueMark, and member benefits include great rates, lower fees, and personalized service, plus all the same digital tools and tech you've come to expect from your banking partner. So check out TrueMark today. TrueMark, go to TrueMark.com/PHLY for more information. TrueMark Financial is federally insured by the NCUA and is an equal opportunity lender. For more information, visit TrueMark.com/PHLY. While we're here, let's talk about Indeed. Listen, we're all driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search, it's to match. And you got to do it with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global visitors. With over 350 million global visitors. And you can ditch the busy work. You can use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites. How do they do it? They do it by leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day. So Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences. So the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Join the more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/AllCity. Just go to Indeed.com/AllCity right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. All right, just real quick, something stupid. So Patrick Laine has cleared the Players Assistance Program, and he wasn't going to get traded until he was. You're not allowed to talk to teams or GMs or anything while you're in the program, and no team's going to trade for a player in the program before they can talk to them. Sure. So now he's actually on the market, signed for this year, next year, $8.7 million. Any interest?
We're having a whole ass conversation about how Travis Konecny isn't worth the money that we're giving him. Patrick Laine, I want Patrick Laine to be the guy that he was for that one season, one time that everyone liked him, but he's just not that guy.
I'm pretty sure he scored more goals as a teenager than he has in his 20s.
That sounds about right.
I'm fairly certain I did that math, but if not, it's kind of close. And considering he's in his 20s now, it's insane.
I feel like the last time we had this conversation about Patrick Laine, Bill, you kind of brought me around on the idea where it's look, Patrick Laine is very much not the kind of hockey player that I like. He's just, there are so many parts of his,
one thing.
There are so many parts of his game that annoy the hell out of me, but he's really, really good at one thing. It happens to be the one thing that a lot of Flyers fans want more than anything. So I get the appeal, but you brought me around on the idea of if they went for it, I wouldn't hate it, just because he's probably going to cost so little.
50% retention. I bet you're not giving up anything for him.
They're
not?
in such need of high-end talent, guys, and taking big swings. That would be a low-risk, high-reward big swing. I would not have a problem with them giving it a go because he does clearly have high-end talent. It might not be high-end talent in the way that I like high-end talent to be, but he does have high-end talent, and he's shown it before. So if they went for it, I would be like, you know what?
If you could call Don, I'm not saying it's a great idea, but if you could call Don Waddell and be like, hey, that second round pick you owe us, keep it. You retain 50%. I'd do it.
Okay, for free, sure. For literally nothing? Okay.
I mean, that second round pick
And
is going to be like 34th overall, probably. Like, it's going to be a decent second round pick. But if they retain 50%, I'd be interested. This isn't going to happen.
No.
It's just like a type of move. If they're going to get this high-end talent and they're not going to tank to do it, they're going to have to take some risks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, there are probably better risks you can take,
Yeah.
but in the right circumstance, and I don't know if it's possible, but in the right circumstance, I would not be opposed to taking this swing. That's all. It's not a big deal.
You
We don't
talked me
need to
into
talk
it
about
for free.
Yeah. If they'll give us Patrick Laine for a second
I'll
round
take
pick,
it.
sure.
Yeah.
Bill, I'm just saying, you brought me around on this. You as a noted Patrick Laine hater, you brought me around on the idea of buying low on Patrick Laine. You did.
There's worse ideas. I don't know, maybe not a ton, but there's worse ideas.
He wears goofy hats. That's fun.
Yeah. I didn't even really care to talk about the Wells Fargo Center story because, like, I don't give a shit.
Rip dude.
But
Fine.
Charlie, the other day, when you started talking about the curse of the Wells Fargo
I
Center,
hope
right.
this.
honestly, maybe this is good. Maybe this is. We've talked about for a long time. Eventually, their luck just has to change, right? Maybe
Timing
this is
lines
it.
up, fam.
Maybe this is it.
I'm just saying, I have covered this team in some form or another for over a decade. And it would be one thing if it was just organizational incompetence that has led to this downturn. And don't get me wrong, that's a big part.
Oh, it's
That is
the pie chart is
not insignificant part
the
of it.
pie chart is mostly that, but there's some other shit.
However,
But also.
the sheer amount of just general zaniness and just like, how does this
Really?
always
This?
happen to the Flyers types of things that I have seen up close for over 10 years. Like, and then in addition to that, watching the Sixers from afar, maybe the only team in North America that more crazy ass shit happens to than the Flyers. Like, there's one common thread here.
Mm-hmm.
It's that all of the, like, look, it's always been crazy in Philadelphia. It's been especially crazy for these two franchises since 2010. And what
not
happened
wrong.
in 2010? They changed the name of the arena that both the teams play in.
He's on.
I don't know. I'm just saying maybe there's a link here.
Maybe
It's not
there
like
is.
Wells Fargo is run by good humans.
It's fair.
They're not TrueMark Financial.
They are not. That is one thing we can say
TrueMark
for sure.
Financial Arena.
Yeah, let's do
Center.
it, True Mark.
They're run by good people.
That's probably they probably have the money for naming rights. But so this did lead to some pretty good name suggestions. Britt, do we have the graphic from yesterday? Some of the name suggestions. Now, some of them funny, some of them not. I broke them down into 3 categories. The first being other, just things
Other.
Other.
just people just came
Starting
up
off
with
strong.
some. of
We've
these.
gotten around to F Around Friday, I see.
Yeah, I had to do something. We were going to do this yesterday, honestly. And some of these names on this list aren't too bad.
Okay.
The copy the old Pistons arena, the Palace of Philadelphia. I don't like copying something else, but I do like maybe take away the. I know they'll never do it because it's like trillions of dollars we're talking about.
Oh, the naming rights.
Just don't do a corporate sponsor. You're fine. You're Comcast.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you need the money.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
It's-
you
I'm
have
sure
all the
it's
money.
nice to have.
Right.
But yeah, so there's that one from Andrew Stevens. Xfinity Spectrum, boom. No licensing fees needed.
There
Now
you
here's
go.
the thing about that. If they're not gonna have, because it's owned by them,
Yeah.
why have the corporate name on there if you're not going to reap the benefits of the money? Oh, so
That's true.
is advertising somehow going to make Comcast bigger in Philadelphia, the city
No.
it owns already? Like, I don't see the point of that.
We have no choice but to use them.
Yes.
So here's an interesting question, though, based on that, because I think I have a stance on this, but I want to hear your stances. Would you have a problem if they switched it from, like, whatever the naming rights is or whatever, but if they switched it from the center back to the Spectrum? because when the center was created, they couldn't do that because the spectrum was still there.
Yeah.
Would it be a delightful nod to the past to switch it from the center to the spectrum, or would it be, how dare you claim that this is the spectrum? The spectrum is the spectrum and needs to be retired
People
because it's
would
only
think
the
that.
spectrum. I'm serious. Like, what are your views?
If they let me smoke inside, it's fine.
Is the roof going to fall in? I don't know if you could call it the spectrum and nothing else.
I think there is a suggestion later that it's like
the Spectrum Center.
Well, but that would
Spectrum
make
2.
the Philadelphia Spectrum at IBX Center or something
like that.
I'm not even saying that. I'm saying that, like, let's say, this won't be the case.
Yeah.
But if Wawa sponsored the thing, like, could you just change, instead of making it the Wawa Center, you call it the Wawa Spectrum?
We do have a Wawa suggestion.
Yeah, that's an easy
coming
one.
up. That is very funny to me. It's the Wawa Arena.
Okay, that's hilarious.
There it is,
Yes.
Michael Johnson.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's one of the.
That's really
that was
funny.
one of the others. But just cycle through a couple of these. Yeah, just the FU Center, not even First Union.
That was the best one
just
by far. Just
I
FU.
mean, it was us.
It fit
But,
us very well.
Yeah, we don't even need First Union. Just call it the FU Center. That
Yeah.
would be very funny. The Wawa Megadome.
That's fun.
That's
The Megadome.
That's not
The
bad.
Megadome.
I am still mad. I'm sure
Flip
that
Michigan Mega
I'm
Bowl?
sure that there was a copyright thing that prevented them from doing it. I am so mad that Seattle and it's Climate Pledge Arena. I am so mad they didn't call it like the Climate Pledge Soundgarden. It would have been so perfect.
Yes,
a
Charles.
nod to the grunge history in Seattle,
Yes,
and just because
Soundgarden.
you already have Madison Square Garden, you could call it the Soundgarden.
Yes.
It'd be a great arena title, not the name, but the title.
It wouldn't be bad. That would
You're
be
right.
pretty good.
Yeah.
What do we have? The Spectrum Center Arena, which I thought was very funny.
Just
All
add
the
them all
words.
in.
Just throw them all
the
together.
things, yeah.
The Ducks had the pond. Can we go with the John?
Arrowhead Pond,
Yeah.
Oh,
Arrowhead
God.
John.
The John.
That would be not bad. Not bad. Spectrum 2, which was like the working name for the center at the time.
Was
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. So do we have any more others? I can't remember how many of these there are. This person was just
50
mad.
years without a cup
Michael,
set.
Yeah, this
aren't
person
you
was
a
just mad
delight?
at me because I was like, just call it the Philadelphia Center or
God.
something. And like 50 years without a cup. Like, okay.
Call it
I
1975
hope people
Center.
I hope other people realize that's not an insult to me because I don't run the team.
Yeah, no.
Like I call them incompetent every day. I get paid a lot of money to do it.
Yeah.
Like, I wish they'd won a cup, but like I wish for a lot of shit. Like, it's the idiots who run the team that have failed me. This isn't some moral failing on my part.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I didn't do shit.
It's not our fault.
I just fucking happen to live here. Like, I don't know what to tell you, man.
What's your problem?
You got to come up with something a lot better than that to insult me.
Michael, go outside this weekend, okay, bud?
All right. And,
Yeah.
Pico Powerhouse is awesome.
That's a good
cool.
one.
That's awesome.
That's a fun
pretty cool.
one.
Yeah.
That would be neat.
And now we have everyone assumes IBX.
Yeah.
Because
It's a fair
the
assumption.
Jersey
Well, it's the
advertisement, the
connection.
Helfrey
The
connection,
Helfrey connection,
yeah.
all that together. So we got
Yeah.
a bunch of these. IBX Center. Yeah. We got a few of
That
these.
feels like a chalk pick, the IBX Center.
IBX fanatic fandom. Think someone was just.
I mean, if you're going to
Someone
do
was
it, might as well
trolling
have
me.
fun with it.
Yeah. And the Spectrum at IBX Center. That's the one that I'm like, if they were to do it, it would be that.
Yeah, that,
Yeah.
that
Like Camden
kinda is
Yards
nice.
at
yeah,
what?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
need that.
like Mile High isn't Mile High anymore, but it's like Mile High at whatever.
Yeah, because it's an iconic name.
I'm all right with that.
I could deal with that.
Yeah.
I think that would be okay.
But
Honestly.
I think it's an interesting question as to whether, like, if they were to bring back the Spectrum moniker, would it be received well, or would old heads be pissed off?
Oh,
it
there,
feels-
there would be people pissed off about it, for sure. Oh, sacrilege. How could you?
I would like it.
Yeah,
But
just-
yeah, people would be mad because people would be mad.
because,
There's
like,
always people that are mad.
I do wonder if, like, they would have immediately just called the center the Spectrum if the Spectrum wasn't still standing when they built it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if they would have
Yeah.
knocked the Spectrum over, I know it logistically would have been pretty hard to do it all in one summer. But, like, if they would have knocked the Spectrum over and then rebuild it in a summer, would they have just called the new building the, what was it, Core States to start?
Yeah.
The
Core
Core
States,
State
yeah.
Spectrum and just ran with it? Maybe. Now they obviously could because the Spectrum doesn't actually exist anymore. But
Only
for
in
what,
our
like
dreams,
5?
Charles.
How long was the Spectrum? It was like a good 10 years when the Spectrum still existed after
Yeah,
the
they didn't
center.
knock
Yeah,
it
it
down
was a
till like
long
09.
Yeah, it took a while. So
Yeah.
over 10 years, I guess. Because when was the center?
96, 97 was
Yeah,
the first
so like
year.
12, 13 years, something like
Yeah.
that of
Yeah.
when the spectrum and the center are both there.
Whenever the Phillies were in the World Series was the year that it.
Yeah, I think it was the
Yes.
Yankees year. Yeah.
Yes.
Pearl
Yeah,
Jam
that
was
would have been
going on while the
09.
games were happening. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just I do wonder if it's it's something that's in consideration of like, is it time to bring back the moniker spectrum?
And then we got to the Snider category. A lot of people just
I like
had
these ones.
A lot of people had
Yeah,
the
Snider
Kelly
Arena.
was the first. Snider Arena, Snider Spectrum.
Nice.
We got a bunch.
Snyder Center.
Oh yes, Ed Snider Arena.
Right.
Yeah.
If they were to do something like that, I think that would have the most universal, like, because there would be people who's like, oh, you're calling it the Spectrum. It's not the Spectrum. It'll never be the Spectrum.
Yeah.
But like, if you just call it the Snider Arena, like, that would be sick.
No one can be mad at that.
Yeah.
I feel like that is like, I don't know if they're going to do it because my guess is they want the
money.
They want the revenue.
They want a
Yeah.
few million
However,
bucks. Yeah.
I would think the only way they even consider doing that is if they know for sure the Sixers are leaving.
Okay.
That would be really funny.
That's a fair
They
point.
know for sure the Sixers. The
They're
Sixers
going
are
to
not
Camden,
staying.
right? Yeah, they're going to go to
That
Camden.
is not happening.
They're still trying to keep them.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that it's not like all Flyers fans have a very positive view of Ed Snider. Most Philadelphia fans understandably do. Ed Snider didn't give a shit about the Sixers.
No, it was very funny how much he didn't care about the Sixers. So those are, we have a whole bunch of those names. Before we get to the Mitkov stuff, you know what? I got to do reads.
Yeah, do those.
You know what? We've been talking a lot about sometimes, even if you're just fired up about something, even if you think like this is incorrect, like I just need to freak out about this. Sometimes you need to take a step back, man. Sometimes you need to chill. And that's why you need ice cold Coors Light, because between work, social media, the choices life throws our way, it's no wonder we're just worked up all the freaking time. Coors Light celebrates rising above and choosing a chill mindset. Why not turn to rained out barbecue into a karaoke house party? Or after a tough loss, maybe settle scores with an ice cold peace offering. Make the choice to choose chill, then reach for a Coors Light. It's mountain cold refreshment. I know this team. They drive us nuts. Are they going to put the right talent around the young guy? Is this contract good? What the hell's going on at the draft? Whatever it is, sometimes we all could use an opportunity to just chill. There's no better way to chill than with an ice cold Coors Light. So you need to find the Blue Mountains in your fridge and enjoy a beer as cold as the Rockies, because when everything surrounding your favorite hockey team is on fire, or even if it isn't, you just like to pretend it is, sometimes you just got to chill. Make the most out of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/PHLY hockey. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And now is a perfect time to tell you about becoming a diehard. That's right. Go to allphly.com and sign up to be a diehard, because this guy over here, it might be July 26th, but he's pumping out the content.
Two
for
diehard
you.
articles in the last 24 hours, one late last night, breaking down the Travis Konecny extension. It's a long one. It's one of the longest ones I've written in a while. It came in very much over 3,000 words. And then this morning, I did a diehard op-ed on the Matvei Michkov press conference on Wednesday, which I wanted to write yesterday, and then we sat down to do the show. Something happened, so I had to put it off. But I had the whole thing mapped out. I was planning to go home yesterday after the show, write it, publish it at around 3. Instead, I had to write it and publish it around noon, which is fine. Now you have 2 articles to read if you're a diehard.
Reward this man for his effort, and that's not it. You don't just get Charlie O'Connor's premium content. You don't just get the Flyers premium content. You get our whole roster of awesome writers and everything we have behind
Zach
the paywall.
Berman's pumping out a bunch of diehard articles. He's covering
Training camp,
which just started.
Training camp has begun. Sixers season really never ends.
Yeah,
and
they're
then the
always doing
Phillies,
something.
as we push towards the playoffs, you're going to want everything we have. You're going to want to be a diehard. Sign up now at allphly.com. Now, I want to talk some Mitkov stuff, but first, this is something we talked about off the air the other day.
Okay.
I think it was after the press conference, I guess, but the social media post the Flyers put out announcing Matvei Michkov, ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
So
I was like, this is a reference.
Yeah,
and they talked about
that
it.
was a little.
They talked
cringe.
about it on What Chaos the other day,
rough.
the All City National show,
this
and this
clip
was
is
really
good.
funny. And
Yeah.
I just wanted to play it because it was basically the conversation we had off the air. We're like, yeah,
You went with that one?
I want to cue this up for everyone if you didn't see it.
Mitkov has arrived in the United States. This is a player who was drafted with a lot of mystery around him.
Couldn't get scouted. People didn't know whether he was going to be able to be released from his KHL contract. There was just a lot of mystery and uncertainty around Matvei Michkov. The Flyers said, F all that. We're going to take a chance. What do you know? Here he is.
The most important part of this is that the Flyers noted his arrival with a tweet that said, "Ladies and gentlemen, we got him." And that is just about the most insane reference I have ever seen a team make about a good thing that they are adding to what they are doing. "Ladies and gentlemen, we got him" is from 2003 when a person said that sentence.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
And him was Saddam Hussein, a person the United States
A literal
intended
terrorist.
to kill. Like having a kid and being like, "Ladies and gentlemen, we got him." Crazy thing to do.
Amazing.
It's so
Amazing.
good.
We were talking about it off the air. Like, I don't know if this person understands what that reference is.
I don't know how old their social media person is. Maybe they weren't alive in 2003.
I feel like it may have been one of those things where the person who wrote that, like,
Has heard the reference?
remembered that quote from
Yeah.
somewhere,
Yes.
but didn't exactly know where it was from. And was like, "Oh yeah, this will be funny," without realizing, like, yeah, that's probably
I
not the right
personally
connotation.
think it's
It's
hilarious.
like when you hear a song so many times and it's like, oh man, that's a cover. Like I thought for the longest time, "Fortunate Son" was a Dropkick Murphys song.
Did you really?
And then I was like,
Oh
oh,
my God.
shit! I didn't even know this until
Fascinating.
college. I
That's
didn't know this
funny.
was a CCR song.
See, I knew it was a CCR song because, well, I was never a big old school music fan, but one of my professors, he ultimately ended up being my thesis advisor, was the subject of that song.
No shit.
David Eisenhower. Yep.
That's neat.
Yeah, it was about basically the origination of the song was Eisenhower, who was obviously in the Eisenhower family, was marrying Julie Nixon, and the idea was like the CCR guy was like, neither of them are gonna ever have to do anything that we have to do. So he wrote the
Oh,
song.
wow, neat.
Yeah.
All right, now I want to actually, with the little bit of time we have left, talk about Matvei Michkov because we've talked about tempering expectations.
Nope.
I said the other day, yeah, I'm going to try, but also I'm not going to, like, I already bet his points over. I bet him to win the Calder, and he is the favorite everywhere to win the Calder trophy.
Hey-o.
So, like, the expectations from the outside world, at least from an odds-making standpoint, are like, he is the best rookie coming into the league this year. I got to
Right.
tell you. Yeah, like Macklin Celebrini, who's thought of as like a generational talent. Like he's some
Is
books.
he thought of or is he just the #1 overall pick? Do we have to call every #1 overall pick a generational talent?
I don't know if he's thought of the way like
He's not Bedard.
Bedard is,
No,
yeah, but
he's
like
just a good player.
he could be the best player on a Stanley Cup team, is how I think he's thought of.
Probably.
Like
I'm gonna
that's
start calling
the,
Nico Hischier a generational talent.
but like I don't think anyone thought he could be the best player on a Stanley Cup team.
Yeah, that's fair. All right.
Like, I think that's the difference. Regardless, like, he is, in some books, they're tied, but right here, as you can see, Michkov is the favorite. You know, the Flyers have never had a Calder Trophy winner.
Never. Isn't that wild?
I hadn't
Never.
realized that.
Yeah.
It's wild.
They've had 6 finalists, no winners. Ghost finished second in 15-16.
Yep.
Panarin won. Renberg was third in
37-year-old
93-94.
Artemi Panarin.
Yeah,
at the time.
Hextall was second in 86-87.
Lindros was fourth.
Yeah.
That shocked
Wild.
me.
Yeah, Lindros was fourth, and it's like, all right, Solani went nuts the year.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Solani
Solani
went
deserved
nuts.
the Calder,
to be
70
sure.
goals. But like, and then you see Felix Potvin in there. Like, I do wonder now, looking back, how much like the media was like, oh, he thought he was
Probably.
better than he could. But like, the numbers are what they are, and he did miss a bunch of games.
Yeah.
But like, he wasn't even a finalist, Lindros.
We talked about this yesterday before the show. We thought we were going to be discussing
Yeah.
this debate, that the fact that Potvin was above Lindros in the Calder voting is 100% because half of the Professional Hockey Writers Association voters were probably based in Toronto. And they
Yes.
watched it. It was like, oh, he has a
100%.
.910 save percentage and he plays for the Maple Leafs?
You know
Gotta be a
how hockey
firewall.
writers are, am I right? These professional hockey writers.
So I wanted to go back. Like, yes, we're expecting big things out of Michkov, and maybe it's not fair to like compare him to all these other Flyers rookies because we haven't had a Flyers rookie come in with the hype of Michkov since Eric Lindros, who did have, was it 75 points in 61 games. Like, That was incredible.
Pretty good.
But, the last Flyers rookie to have more than 48 points, Michael Renberg. He had 82.
Renberg.
But it's been since Michael Renberg. And just going through the list of some of these Flyers rookies, like Tyson Forster's 20 goals. We talked about this during the season.
That was good.
They were the most by a Flyers rookie since Matt Reed.
Matt Reed.
Noah Cates
The
2
Michigan
years
State's
ago.
own.
Noah Cates 2 years ago, 38 points in 2022-23. Most by a Flyers rookie since Shane Gostisbehere's 46. Most by a rookie forward since, Matt Reed. But
Hang his number up.
first round pick, Morgan Frost, 16 points in 55 games. Oscar Lindblom, 33 and 81. Nolan Patrick, second overall pick, 30 points. Travis Konecny,
Good in the
20.
second half.
Yeah, he was
He
just
invisible
was good
in the first
second
half.
Yeah.
like Konecny and Provorov, 28 and 30, respectively. There's guys like Braden Shen had 18 points his rookie year. It's really hard to score as a rookie, is what this list tells me. Because even like Jeff Carter,
Well, Flyers
42,
rookies.
Mike Richards, 34, okay, Gagne, 48, and that's the most. Gagne's 48 in 80 games were the most since Renberg, and they've been the most since then. It's really difficult, even for these guys who ended up having really good careers. JVR 35, Drew 27.
And in fairness, Drew, looking
Drew
at his
played 42 games.
Drew's pace is 50.
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
on a 50-point pace. He just got sent down
He
to
just
start that season.
refused to move to the suburbs, so he had to play half a year with the Phantoms.
Yeah.
But it's just very difficult. That said, the over-under is at 46.5 points. He's the Calder Trophy favorite. What are you expecting? What's realistic? What's fair?
Okay, so I don't really know what either of those things are. I'm expecting him to be awesome. And here's the thing, because I think it was you that mentioned this, and I don't know if it was yesterday's show or another show, about people being pissed off if he's not as good as we think he's going to be. And I don't really think that's going to be the case. I kind of have a feeling that he's going to be he's our baby. We're going to expect him to be incredible. And if he falters a little bit, we're going to be like, all right, it's okay. He's our little Matvei. He's going to be okay. And we're just going to love him as we should as fans.
So you're saying it's going to be like the Gordon Ramsay meme where
Yes.
Morgan Frost is the you donkey,
Yes,
you
exactly.
suck. And
Yes.
it's like, no, it's okay. It's okay.
Exactly. He is the children's version of MasterChef. I'm 100% expecting and rooting for him to win the Calder Trophy, score 80 points, all kinds of crazy things. I think it's possible. It's not impossible.
It's definitely possible.
Yeah.
He is that talented.
He's real good.
I think I'm expecting around 50, but I'm not expecting it to be 50 points in 82 games.
Yeah.
I think he's going to miss some time.
Probably.
I think he will get injured
It's a lot of
probably
games
at
to
least
play.
once. He's pretty built, but he's still on the smaller side, and he plays a very not physical game, because it's not the right way to put it, but he will fight through contact. He is not going to shy away from contact. And I do think that maybe once or twice he's going to get banged up a little bit because he's playing against the strongest players he's ever played with. I could see him finishing with 51 points in 67 games, where the point per game rate is pretty darn good, but he missed 15. I can see that.
I just don't know that I'm prepared to understand. Have you ever been to the Grand Canyon? You know when you go to the Grand Canyon and in your mind, you
They got a hole in the ground. All right.
in your head, oh, it's probably going to be cool. And then you see it and you're like, holy fuck, I was not prepared for
Yes.
this level of incredible. I don't watch a lot of Blackhawks games. I don't watch a lot of Oilers games. I'm asleep. So I don't experience the best players in the game on a night-to-night basis. I'm not sure I'm fully prepared for what I'm going to see on my hockey team every single night from Matvei Michkov. And that's so exciting.
I think the consistency is the hardest thing for young guys. So I think we're not going to see 82 games of Matvei Michkov, even the best for what he can do as a rookie.
Sure.
But we are going to see flashes of what he's going to be one day.
Yeah.
And as long as we get to see those flashes, that'll be enough. But you're insane if you think there isn't going to be part of this fan base. Oh, great, the one guy we have isn't even good enough. You are insane if you don't think that's going to happen. And thank you very much to our diehards. We couldn't do what we do without you here at PHLY. So sign up to be a diehard at allphly.com. But yeah, you're nuts if you think
I'm
people aren't going to
insta-blocking
lose their
anyone
mind.
I see complaining about Matvei Michkov. off even once. I don't know, man. It's going to be so much fun. I'm really excited about it. What did Ovi score his rookie year? That's what I'm expecting. Base level.
52, I
Did he
think.
score 50 goals?
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's what I'm expecting.
And one of them has to be as he's falling down behind his
Yeah,
back.
exactly.
What a goal.
That kind of
What
shit.
a goal. I remember I used to have that. This is dating me. But I used to have that goal on my iPod video.
iPod video.
My iPod video. And I had clips of great hockey plays, and I had them on my iPod video so I could watch them
I love
in
Charlie
between
lore.
classes in high school.
Amazing.
That's outstanding. Anyone who had access to ice tried that
Tried that
once.
goal.
You
Yeah.
had to try.
You had to give it a shot,
All
right?
And that is pretty much all the time we have for you today. Thank you all.
Super
Super chats. God
Super
damn it, I've done it
chats.
again. Super chats. All right, let's hit these super chats. First from my guy, Space Lettuce. When can we admit that Cutter's agent is a problem?
That's kind of a random question to be
That
asking
is
today.
random.
But
Is it?
We might be. I
Fuck
mean,
William
I don't
Gauthier
know.
and
possible.
his agent.
If,
Who cares?
if it's a problem, they need to address it because Kurt Overhard, while he's not one of the Pat Brisson level agents, represents a lot of good players. So if there is a problem, the Flyers need to work to address it because he's going to keep representing players they might be interested in drafting or signing or trading for. So if there is a breach, they need to figure out a way to fix it. But I don't think we know for sure that there is a breach.
Alternate question, when can we simply admit that William Gauthier is the problem? He's an asshole. He's got an ego on him the size of who knows what. We saw it with the friggin' comments before the World Juniors game that bit him right in the ass.
Yeah, that worked well.
Maybe it's just him, fam. It doesn't have to be that complicated. He's just a little dickhead.
The Eagles.
We shall see. I don't
The
wanna-
Eagles.
No,
wanna
he's a
rip the
dickhead,
guy.
Charles. I'm
You
saying
can.
it.
I won't.
I know you won't because you're a professional. I'm saying
The
it.
Eagles continued to work with Drew Rosenhaus clients after TO. The Phillies continued to work with Scott Boras clients after JD Drew.
These people are professionals.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
If it's that big of a problem, then we need different management.
Right.
If this dude is an issue, you're gonna have to deal with him because you need players.
Yeah.
You can't just black out part of the league because you don't like the guy who negotiates the contracts.
And it would be foolish for him as an agent to blackball an entire hockey team in a large market. Why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense.
It would be silly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Just Jonesy's the guy everybody likes. Just fly Coatsy in, have Coatsy and Jonesy take Kurt out for drinks. Everybody gets sloshed. You yell at each other. You get all your anger out, and then everything's good, right?
Boom.
Jake
Sorted.
Voracek in too. Yeah.
Yeah, bring Jake too. Why not?
Sorted.
Now it's a party.
All right. From JH, what would happen if the armchair GMs of the Flyers social media got to run the team for a season? Think in the vein of Twitch plays Pokemon.
I'm definitely
thanks
too
for
old to
another
know
I don't
what Twitch
understand
plays
this
Pokemon
reference.
is,
I don't know.
We-
But what if the
you've lost
people?
us.
I'm sure. I think if I got to run the team, we wouldn't be worse. I'll tell you that. I don't think we'd be worse.
I don't believe we would
Considerably
be worse.
better.
So
you
what-
specifically, I would allow. The random Twitter user, they would be the Buffalo Sabres or worse. They would just be consistently trying to tear it down and draft your way to success and never get there.
I think that the armchair GMs on Twitter, particularly during certain regimes, I'm thinking the Chuck Fletcher regime, I think they would have been better at avoiding obviously bad moves. What I do think though is that the vast majority of fans, and this isn't a shot at fans, this is just the reality. Fans don't understand how difficult it is to negotiate anything. So it's not just as simple as, well, make me the GM and I'll do trades.
Why don't you just do trades? What's your problem?
It isn't that easy. Now, it's the GM's job to do them. So I'm not saying that I'm giving Danny Briere a pass, but a random Twitter user could not negotiate a trade with Bill Zito.
You go into roster management, you click trades, you find the team you want to trade with, and you keep mixing and matching players until the bar turns green.
Right.
That's it.
That is the part of the job that the random Twitter users would not be able to do because it is significantly more difficult to execute trades than I think they realize.
If you were a good GM, you would do every single trade that you wanted to do. No problem. Duh, Charlie.
Yeah.
He must be
All
a
right.
bad GM.
And finally, the last one from Angela Rizzo.
Wawakhovia Center.
Wawakhovia Center.
Center. Is that where we're going?
Wawakhovia.
Wawakhovia.
He
would
needs
be
an
funny.
A in there. Wawakhovia, yeah.
That
I'm
would be
into it.
funny.
Every time I see Angelo Rizzo pop up, I immediately think, is Angelo
Is it
Ricci?
Massimo?
Is Angelo
Oh.
Ricci watching? Angelo Ricci, the skills coach? Like, is
Oh,
he
yeah.
commenting? And then I'm like, oh no, it's Rizzo.
I
So
wish it
sorry,
was.
Angelo.
It's Massimo's brother.
Yeah, it's Massimo Rizzo's
Massimo
brother.
Rizzo's. It could
Obviously.
be.
Could be.
I don't know what Massimo Rizzo's brother's name is, or even if he has a brother. For that
I
matter.
mean, solid chance it's Angelo if they named him Massimo. Like,
It's
It would
solid
fit.
chance. Yeah.
It's not off the table.
No.
All right, and now, and one more. As I'm about to wrap up again from Dylan
Dylan.
Phillips. Thoughts on new KHL deal? Also, I hate Flyers Twitter now.
What new cage?
I
There's
don't
a
know
new
about the new
KHL
KHL deal.
did it just happen while we've been
I've
recording this and not
been
looking at the
focused
internet?
on covering Matvei Michkov and the Travis Konecny
Did something
thing.
happen? I
I
assume
saw
there's
there was
new
a person.
talent
There was a
thing.
person in chat who asked like 6 times today about it. I don't know because I haven't read about it yet. Sorry.
So like, here's the other thing: like, we don't have to care about the KHL anymore. Like, we're like, like he's here now. So
God
like,
damn it! Stop with the super chats. This is the last one. I'm not reading anymore. From EPB01, max deals are cost of talent in this area. Maybe not worse to keep TK. You just have to trade/sign in year 4 another max because no one else lets
Right.
free agents walk.
I get what he's saying, and he's making a lot of sense. If you want to re-sign your guys, this is what you do. Every NHL team does it.
Well,
I know that some of them do.
I agree with
like
you to
the
a point. I'm
Austin
just
Matthews
saying.
deal and shit, but
well, and also like our boy Tulski. Our boy Tulski does not sign guys to 8-year deals just because it's what you do. He trades them rather than give them contracts that might be bad.
I know.
Well,
but
if there's one
are
organization whose
unicorns.
success I would like to mimic, it's
I
Carolina.
know, but you know, not everyone is going to be that good.
They gotta do something eventually.
Eventually,
That's all.
sure.
All right,
will-
and that is
I mean-
all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers today. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. If you haven't already, got to hit that subscribe button. Search. I almost said search Broad Street Hockey. Search
BroadStreetHockeyArena.com.
just subscribe to our YouTube, PHLY Flyers, All City, whatever the hell it is. PHLY Sports, I think. Make sure you hit those reminders. Never miss a live show. We'll be back Monday, I believe, at 1 o'clock. Follow the podcast, PHLY Flyers, wherever you get those. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers. All right, until Monday, fam, my name is Bill Matz. That's Charlie O'Connor. That's Kelly Hinkle. Stay loose and sexy, Philly.
We all silly like the mayor.